Hello, welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki Jacobs. I'm an ET abductee, lifelong ET abductee, surrogate mom of numerous hybrid children. Doesn't follow suit with being a Christian. It doesn't follow suit with believing in God, and it doesn't follow suit with a lot of communities that I'm a part of. That all said, it's interesting when you are an abductee and you have people who are telling you that extraterrestrials are demons or that they're fallen angels. That's not my experience at all as an ET abductee. And I've been abducted by a number of different kinds of ETs. And it's interesting. Some of them have the ability to control the human brain in very specific ways because they have very high frequencies that are so beyond what humans are capable of doing. Consciously and subconsciously, and with our higher abilities. And they are very up there in their frequencies and their abilities that they can control the human brain. And control it in such a way to where I usually call us little mindless automatons. Because that's what it's like. I've woken up before in a group of other abductees, many double digits, many people in a group, in a forest, with 7 to 9 tall extraterrestrials who abducted us humans. That's a little angering and a little frustrating. I did a lot of yelling and screaming in my head to try it because we're all connected. We're all telepathically connected. We can hear each other. And everybody, when I was coming out of it, everyone was in that mindless little automaton, walking, marching. It's not marching, but it's walking to like a rhythm. You're all walking together. I don't know how else to describe it. There are multiple different ways to describe it, but when you wake up, because you're hearing crunching under your feet, and you know damn well that you're supposed to be in bed asleep, and that you had gotten ready for bed, and that you were in your PJs, and when you wake up, and you can't move your head, but you're looking down at your body, and you're going, oh my God, I'm fully clothed. Oh my God, I'm in my shoes. And then you start looking around, and you're going, where the am I? And you can't move your head, but you can certainly move your eyes around. There were a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying this to frighten people. I am saying this because I want people aware of how abductions can occur. I was on vacation during that one specific incident. I was still in Washington State, born and raised in Washington State. And I was on vacation at that time, on an island. Pretty good size island, and I was absolutely stunned. I think I was the shortest human, now that I think about it. Everybody else was quite a bit taller than I was. And I could only see the backs of people's heads and the backs of their bodies. I couldn't see people's faces. And what I could tell was that just from the hands that I saw, there were all different kinds of humans from all different kinds of cultures. Let's put it that way. But that's the first time that I remember being abducted in a group. Now, I know that I've had an experience where my mom and I were abducted when I was 5 years old. I remember that. But that was the first group exposure that I remember. And that was, what, 2022? 22. I'm going to have to go back through my journal notes, but yeah, I believe it was 2022 because it was after COVID. Anyway, my point is ET abductions can happen in a lot of different ways. And typically it happens when you're asleep. Not always, but it usually, because it's easier for them. Less of a problem. And they have better option and viability of making it seem, because the person's going to be going to bed, getting ready for bed, thinking that they are dreaming, thinking that they are asleep and dreaming, and oh, this is just a dream. Oh, and you wake up in the morning and, oh God, I had the weirdest, strangest frickin' dream. And what was it? Well, it had creatures in it that weren't human, and I think I was on board a ship, and you've got really unusual experiences in that dream. Things that go beyond Earth, shall we say? Yeah. You're having dreams like that, and you're not watching a movie about extraterrestrials. You're not watching a horror movie, whatever else kind of movie or TV show or anything like that that would jog anything like that up in your dreams. I'd be starting asking some questions. Start asking some very serious questions. I'm 57. No, excuse me. I just had my birthday. I'm 58. And I've been dealing with this all my life. I know very well how they get around. How they get around it. If you're open to it, they're going to keep your mind open to it. At 7 years old, I begged and pleaded with an ET where I saw her on ship. She was fine. It was fine. I was fine. The whole situation was okay at 7. In my bedroom, on Earth, in my home, she had put herself into a different frequency and made herself invisible, because they have the ability to do that, because they go into a phase, it's called a phase shift mode. And in that phase shift mode, it's a higher frequency, and it literally phases them out of the same frequency that our physical body is in now at this given moment in time. And what ends up taking place is that they can shift their frequency, and literally what I've been told by the ETs is that we do not have the quote-unquote cones. We do not have enough cones in our eyes to be able to see that frequency that they phase shift into. So she was in her phase shift mode, or her cloaked mode, and I begged, and I knew damn well she was there. I could still feel her. I could still smell her. You can feel the energy of somebody that's physically there, usually, depending upon how aware you are. And at 7 years old, I was very, very aware. And so I had begged and pleaded and asked her to show me herself in my own home, on my own home turf, my own territory. She terrified me. But when I was on board, didn't terrify me. That's how a child's viewpoint of this, because she was in my home, in my own territory, it became very real. And even though I knew that she was real on board ship, it was more dream-esque, dream-like, but yet I knew damn well that I was on board ship. My point being is that they literally, both a combination of them and me, because the human mind, you can cut off and protect yourself in a very specific way, and you can shut down memories when you get really terrified. I was terrified when she showed herself, and I yelling and screaming. I was calling her a monster. Oh my God, you're a monster. There's a monster in my room. Oh my God, oh my God. And I was just rocking back and forth and rocking back and forth. And so my point being, if you're open and you're mentally open and aware and alert, they can keep you that way. You become terrified, you become angry, you have any emotions other than working with them, you're either going to be cut off, so to speak, with access and memories, or you're going to have vague recollections and it's going to all seem like it was all dreamland and everything was, you had it in a dream when it was real. So it's a form of a dream state in the head, in the human's mind. And it can get really interesting. Because at the same time that they're dealing with us in the dream state, we're also, it's very convoluted because our own brain can create, because we believe we're in a dream state, our own brain can create other things in that dream state with it. I don't quite understand that, but I know that. I know that's happened to me on a couple of occasions, but when you're having full-on memories where they're walking into your home after you've been attacked, they're 7 feet tall and they're walking through the wall where the front door is. They're essentially walking through the front door. And they're standing 4 or 5 feet away from you. Sorry, I'm looking over here because that's where they were at the time. 7 feet tall, and they're in there, and they're loud as I'm talking right now, and talking to me and checking on me and having a conversation. And I'm like, "Can you show yourself?" And they're like, "No, not going to happen," because the reaction that I had at 7 years old, that has been put into play for them. Then there have been times where I have woken up in a physical fight with them, and I've made contact. There was a time where I was being brought back, and I was in the process of waking up, and I actually kicked one of them. Gripped onto their shoulder really tight with my toes, and my toes gripped. I mean, I went in and I went, "Oh my God, there's nothing at the end of my bed. What?" And then I went, "What is this?" And I wouldn't let go. And the next thing I know, my other leg is coming forward and I'm kicking and I grab on, and this one releases and this one is grabbing on. My toes are grabbing on to the shoulder of the other shoulder of very skinny ET. And when they released my eyes to open, I shot so fast out of that bed. And I grabbed my phone and I'm like, "Okay, I'm awake. I'm taking pictures." I mean, I was like, I wasn't okay about that. Excuse me. So, ET abductions can be very convoluted. They can be very complicated. Very, very, very complicated. Sometimes they can be as simple as waking up, and other times they can be you're on board ship and you're waking up. Not so simple. So, or you can be at work You got an office, nobody's seen you for 8 hours because, hello, you don't walk out of your office unless you have to go to the bathroom. And hey, but it's unusual this time because nobody's seen you for 8 hours. Be asking questions if you're having memories of where you're not getting work done at work, and it's not because of you. Strange things can happen. So, and then there are abilities to where there were some things that I never understood. For example, how can a spouse, you're sleeping with a spouse, how can the spouse not know that you're not there? Well, there are times where the ETs that are doing the abductions can make the spouse sleep longer or deeper. They can do that with animals as well. If they're walking into a home that's got dogs and cats and birds and whatever else, I mean, it can be really fast. Then there are times where they can be abducting the entire family. And you're all on board. I believe that's what's happened with my mom and I, but I don't have any memories of it. I only have memories of that one time with Mom and I in a green van, 1970. It was, let's see, 1973. I had to think about that a minute. Because it was the year after I was on board a ship, and remember the Butterfly Nebula, only that's not what they called it. So, and I just realized what the name of my book's gonna be. It just hit me. I've had like 3 or 4 different names for it, and it literally, I'm wow. Well, that was interesting. So I'm given little bits and pieces of information here and there, but I'm given this because I want you to, if you are an ET abductee, I want you to understand from somebody who experiences it firsthand, and remembers a lot of different situations. Depending upon the species, race of ET that's doing the abductions and what they're using you for. Like for me, I'm in one of 3 hybridization programs that I'm aware of. I know there's a total of 3. Well, there's more than 3, but of hybridization programs within the ETs. But I know that personally that I'm in one of 3 different ones. I also know that I'm being abducted by one of 3 different groups of ET that are doing abductions. One mostly with the hybridization, and then I was being abducted for the ETs that are working with government. That's a whole nother subject that I'm not getting into right now, but just be aware. Sorry, you probably hear the doggies sitting on the couch next to me snoring. And he just hit snore mode, so we'll see how long this lasts. Anyway, so, and I've had to move because I had to move out into the living room with me in my chair because my back has gotten very, very bad the last 5 to well, no, the last 7 days, actually, now that I think about it, because today's Thursday. So anyway, so if you are an ET abductee, think about what takes place every day, every night. Think about how your dreams are, what you dream of, and the odd little things. Like if you have missing time, are you gone 2 minutes? Are you gone 8 minutes? I don't know why the number 8 pops up into my head right now, but 8 minutes. Are you gone for 8 hours? I know people, okay, because they've talked about this publicly, I know people that have driven up the same road. They drive up every single day to and from work. And when they drive up that road on certain days, they have missing time. And we're talking like them asking the other one, how the hell did we get here in 35 minutes? It should have taken us an hour. How did we get here in 10 minutes? It takes us an hour. Longer amounts of time. Why did it take us more than an hour to get here when there were no mitigating circumstances to cause that? No accidents, no other cars, no animals, no anything that would cause that. And being late. So there's all different kinds of ways that this can go. And sometimes it can be kind of frightening. There are people that I know that have been on road trips that have driven long stretches of road that they've driven before on trips, never an issue, and all of a sudden they're gone for over 8 hours. They're supposed to be somewhere and they're 8 hours late. So there are things of that nature. So I would also be checking because of a situation of people that I knew in August of 2019. Check to see if your car's been magnetized. Check if the vehicle is okay. If the polarity on the metal is okay. Are the gauges in the vehicle okay? Those are kind of things to think about if you're out driving and you've got a weird situation popping up. I'd be looking at that car and looking at all the digital displays, checking everything out, checking underneath the carriage of the car, all sorts of things. But the biggest one that I learned in August of 2019 because of other people's experiences, have a magnet, have a compass. No joke. And that was an ET abduction that occurred. And the people had a brand new vehicle. So there should not have been any issue whatsoever. But it wasn't just them that was abducted. It was also the vehicle. So have that in mind. Now, Mom and I never noticed anything with the van. But we also weren't looking. We weren't aware. Unusual things just never happened. But anyway, so these are things to think about. This is just something that I'm going to put out there. This is just one of those little mini videos I talked about. Watch out for, because I'm going to be bringing stuff like this up in some of these. I'm going to be bringing some of this stuff up in these little videos. And it's a lot of stuff that we've talked about before, or that I've talked about before. I've also talked about it on other shows, other podcasts. On the radio, there was a time where there were a couple of shows that I know that were on radio that they had me on. So that was nice. So anyway, it's just all this information, and there's a lot of information to come. So anyway, I hope you all take very good care, and I am hoping to be doing Saturday night at 11, not at 10. I'm hoping to be on at 11. So right now it's Thursday. I was supposed to be on Tuesday, and I was in way too much pain with my back. So anyway, take very good care, and I will hopefully see you next time. Take care. Bye. I keep saying take care. Just take care. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Take a few deep breaths periodically throughout the day. Very important for those lungs and the brain. Bye, guys.